Hello everybody, this is Rob Phoenix. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be finishing up the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Let's begin.
So this is the article in question, is it? The small box deposited by a bone broker by Mr. McGildy 2 months ago.
And on the night of Mr. Winnebank's murder, the only item on the shelf that was touched by whoever broke into the shop. Quick, quick, let's open and see what's inside.
Good gracious, this is no ordinary box, it seems.
Wow, although in truth, I had an inkling that might be the case. It would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement.
Then, is it too much to expect?
I think it would be reasonable to assume that it is a device for a playback for this disc, my lord.
So here we are. So here we have the means to play music Mr. McGildy's disc deposited at Winnebank's as much at the same time.
Not strictly correct, my lord. It is not McGilded's disc. It was the disc of the victim in the omnibus.
But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell this music disc to Mr. McGilded?
I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord.
Yes, very well. Let the court now listen to the curious disc at last.
Wait, my lord!
Good grief, what is the meaning of this, Inspector?
That music box and the disc are, they're unrelated to the case. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere of the courtroom with some silly bit of music. The disc may well be motivated the culprit in the case to commit murder. Clearly there's a chance it's fundamentally important to understanding what happened. The prosecution has no objection. But, right now, that piece of evidence is police property now. You can't... Clearly Scotland Yard has some vested interest here. But it is policy of this prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening.
No further delays, please. Play the disc! What on earth? That's certainly not what I call music.
No. It's just the same note playing over and over again in the irregular sequence.
Mr. Graydon?
This really is priceless. After all that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the officer sent to fetch it didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom.
Well, with much regret, I feel the court must accept this music box offering little in the way of clues. Are you ready to move on, counsel?
Come on. Yes, alright, it does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? Could this music enchantment in the music box probably be a new clue? I believe I believe that it could be relevant, my lord.
Good lord, but how can it be? It's an abomination, Council. Mere noise. I fail to see how it can have any meaning whatsoever.
It does sound strange, I agree. But there's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there gloating viciously, the inspector beside him is a telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognized the sound, as if he's familiar with it somehow. And that's making him appear extremely on edge. If that's the stance of the defense, my Nipponese friend, answer me this. Oh! Just what relevance do you propose this woeful charming has on the case? If the defense brief that the salvage enemy for this music box is... Just because it is a music box, it doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that. A smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it. I'm on the right lines here. I must be. Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Hurley, Runa.
Objection!
The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music? Well, now that you've told us when they are not. I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponese friend. Well, surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be a death of your ill-formed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that is pure foolishness. They got me. I don't know what the answer is yet. Renault? I just examined the music box very thoroughly. And I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all. Really? Really? The way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyways. Thank you, Iris. Alright, well, if the music box isn't broken, it must mean that the sounds it's producing have some significance that isn't musical. Ah! Could it be? Is that what these sounds are? Something just struck me, Bruno. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I heard another sound very much like this one on the music box make. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing.
I'm going to have to press the defense for the answer. If your assertion is what the sound produced by this music box is not in fact music at all, then what the devil is it, Council?
All the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we heard, it's all pointing to one single answer now. The prosecution demands that my learned Nipponese friend presents proof now. Tangled proof that its latest wild speculation. Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. And if I'm right, we want to join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of the sounds in this music box is...
Take that!
Obviously, it's this.
I'm afraid to say, Council, that you were being rather optimistic with that leaning obviously there.
Oh wait, I just realized I'm supposed... Oh wait. I'm supposed to examine the paper. sensational story lore down the first page as well. Ministry Hall, classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. For a 10-year-old, Iris certainly has her finger on the pulse of world news. It's about secret communications between Great Britain and its allies. Apparently they're being interpreted by hostile nations. Communications are being intercepted? But how can anyone be doing that? That's the question, isn't it? I come up with 3 different possible methods so far. Are you looking for a new career or no? No, of course not. I wonder. Perhaps this is what Lord Strongheart was talking about yesterday. Yes, it could be. It could explain why he has Grexy running from pillar to post at the moment. Alright, see, there it is.
Take that!
Today's paper council? The headline is Pawnbrokers Perish in Pittsburgh Plunder. Highly supportive of your cause.
No, my lord. I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page.
Further down. Ministry Hall? Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice? Yes, that is a very serious matter being investigated at the highest level, I understand.
I have heard that international transmissions on long supposedly secure lines are somehow being interpreted and leaked to various other countries. And presumably these transmissions are a form of wire telegrams? Of course. Juror number 5, your input, please. Stop. Oh, me, sir? Whatever's the matter? You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not? Yes, that's correct. And the particular station where you worked deals with government communications and newspaper reports? Oh, yes. We're not a run-of-your-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, is this not the very familiar sound? Hmm? You don't mean to say, is it? That's right, madam. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machines if you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets and Morse code? Order! Order! Please, everyone, order! But this is high treason, Council! Deceiving of capital punishment! Too much new vocabulary. What is this treason? And what is capital punishment? The sorts of words I have expect you to know.
For sovereign government confidential information, hostile nations will surely pay almost any price.
Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, that will be the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. But in the end, McGill perish, and the all-important disc lay unclaimed in the pawnbrokery.
My word!
In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been inside himself with worry. Because if the disc were discovered before it was found its way out of the country,
it would reveal a high act of high treason punishable by death.
So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it. And in order to do that, he would have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night. Because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous. Absolutely preposterous.
So in response to the defense accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you?
Well, of course I do. I have to stand here in silence while that treacherous foreign lawyer has been plotting away.
Objection!
Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense.
Delighted, I'm sure. The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in this trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Winterbank. That being the most flagrant offense at which the law of the land sanctions a capital punishment. But a heinous act of high treason is no less serious a crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us proceed. You may...
You gotta have a weapon report here, Governor. We have things to say.
I beg your pardon. Who do you think you are? Name's Shokin.
Occupation is professional batter. Name's Rango Shokin, and we ain't baddish enough to shell up a mufflin. That's right. We what they call
the Three Shokin Brothers.
Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing. A mere communications officer can possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, the sound produced by the music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilden anyway, was it not? I have no relation to the man. Look, we all done a banging and gas the other man like what he told us to do. But we know we're just watching the government secrets involved. We wouldn't have touched it.
Mr. and Mr. Shokin.
One Mr. Do Governor, what's up?
Do I take it that you now admit to the crime? That on the night of question you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally? And moreover, you did so a party of three in collaboration with Mr. Graydon here?
We did, Gov. We did.
Quiet him down, please. What says you to that, Mr. Graydon?
I have no idea what these two ruffians are referring to. You little rotter, get it all mixed up with this monkey business. You never said nothing about no government secrets. We're all supposed to be a straight-up job. And what about that geezer who's shopping with her? Poor old bloke gonna have to die, isn't he? Nice to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations.
Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant to the proceedings. However, if it has, it will admit it to the court record as evidence.
So is this newspaper headline accurate? Government communications are being interpreted? How could I possibly know? What do you mean by that? Any important government communications are handled by high-level officers, by specialists. General members of staff at the station where I work would never be entrusted with sensitive information. Oh no, stop! Must say something, stop! Let me guess. Juror number 5. We regular communication stations officers are as lowly as you're being led to believe. A team of us are responsible for setting up and testing the telegraphs used by the ministry. And Mr. Graydon is the team leader. That's fascinating. Graydon is highly skilled officer, stop. Currently in presence of idols, stop.
So you have access to the equipment used to do confidential communications, Mr. Graydon.
Well, what of it? The transmissions are always made behind closed doors, so they can't be heard. And in any case, all messages are sent in cipher. Normal employees couldn't possibly understand them. Oh no, stop. Must say something, stop. Mr. Green hardly attends meetings with Ministry technicians and the Ministry Communications team. He assists them in ensuring that there are no errors in important international communications. And he's received the top prize at the Cipher Crafting Convention 5 years in a row now. That's fascinating. Great and highly skilled officer, stop currently presence of idol, stop! Well, your idol would appreciate it if you keep your mouth shut. She should really pick her idols more carefully. I tell you, this lawyer's accusations are completely unfounded.
Hold it!
They're not? So anyone with a brain that won't be blatantly apparent or listening to that music box for even a few seconds. Of course, of course! Surely it can't be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. Ouch, he looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance. I would be more happy to demonstrate the basis for you, sir. A lesson? Here in court? Morse code is this continuous series of two distinct tones. Tones, you say? Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining those in different ways, you construct letters. I see. For example, this is A, and this is B. But when you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you only hear one tone, don't you? But it sounds so similar. The rhythm is the same in everything. But there's no discernible meaning of this apparent random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code. No! Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? The music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Pardon, you must consider just studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in future. Ugh, stop. Nothing to say but stop. Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Iris? I mean, if the government secrets are somehow being leaked through using the music box, how many other things could slot into place so nicely? Could there still be something I haven't considered? Would it really be impossible to use the music box in order to get playback Morse code? There's still a very possibility that the music box is instrumental with the leaking of government secrets. That's the belief of the defense, at least.
Objection!
Does it please you in some way, my Japanese friend? Repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum. It's already been established that to be Morse code, two tones are required. Dots and dashes. Yes, I'm very well aware of that. And then what?
Well, it would appear the defense of the hypothesis to be forward. You had better present your idea at once, Counsel. How do you approve this music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could have possibly used to cipher secret messages into Morse code?
Oh, what is it, Reno? I've just noticed something about this music box. It looks like the button of it opens up as well. Ah, you're right! Well, come on then, what are you waiting for? Let's open it! Alright then, here goes. Look at that, there's another movement on the underside. So does that mean you can set another disc to play back on this side? Yes, I think so. It looks like two movements are linked together. They're linked? If you had two discs, they would play both back at the same time.
Got it!
Good gracious, what am I looking at here? Another movement on the underside of the music box?
What? It appears, my lord, that the two movements are linked together. In other words, you can put two discs in this music box, and the sounds will play back at the same time.
Good heavens!
As the court has heard, Morse code compiles in two tones, a short dot and a long dash. With the second disc in place, the music box could have used to generate Morse code and convey a message. Oh dear, it looks like you need to give your argument more strength for now.
You will reiterate your testimony if you're pleased, Mr. Graydon.
If I must, will I maintain exactly as I did at the start of this pointless cross-examination?
Hold it!
Like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean? That's it, yeah? Who else, huh? They let me down when he was watching over the matter of the olden years, but the Lord had a dog job for us. Eh, Ash? Let me stop you there, Mr. Sulkin. After all them years, you say? Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours? We're the sociable kind of baddies, you know. Sure, let's say Graydon's little China.
Excuse me!
Is something wrong, Mr. Shulkin? No, the other Mr. Shulkin. What? Who, me? When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that you deemed you to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old day, that's all. We used to have a bright old laugh together way back when. Together? With Mr. Graydon, you mean? Yeah, with Ash. I mean, look at him now in a fancy wishbone flu, and you wouldn't have Adam and Eve it. But when we was younger, we were a poor part of town, just like us. Is that so? But you're always a naughty one. You have the brains and the shabby. You just come up with smart ideas that will never have gone through our heads. Yeah, blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember Milton and Shulkin's milk run? I was a cocker hair. Save it until the trial. Your reminiscing has no place for this courtroom. And neither does your fruit. Oi, like Jesus answered a question, eh? And what's answering? Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong.
Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please?
I don't know. Could that settlement start be relevant somehow? My lord.
Yes, counsel?
The brother's last settlement statement could hold vital information relating to this case.
Very well, counsel. I will permit the brothers to supplement the testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add.
Say no more. Shulkin is never shulkin.
Hold it!
I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business? Just a little sting while I'm back in the world with youngsters. A little fun, really. Delivering fresh milk to the locals, that's what it was all about. That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. I suppose since we're here, I should ask him to elaborate, but on what? So this business was just a bit of fun, you say? And it was just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved? Yeah, that's it. Milverton and Shulkin's Milk Run, was it? Yeah, that's it. And where did the Milverton part came from? Oh right, I thought a clever clock you had worked that out. That is... Enough of this. How much longer are we expected to listen to this trifle? I don't... Let me guess. You don't accept anything that these two witnesses are saying. Tell me, why is it that it's only the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to inject? Because well... It weren't the happiest I ones where that came from. Yeah, his old man was struggling for money and says his wife got calm on him. She took the name Graydon, didn't she? But Ash will always be Milverton to us. Milverton? That used to be your surname, did it? Of course not. This is a bunkum. I've been a Graydon since I was born. Do you really think you can rely on testimony of these two thieves? You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details will have been thoroughly checked by the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Graydon.
Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mr. Sulkin's testimony to be reliable, for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then. Is that correct?
Very well. Yes. So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. That information could change things. It could turn out to be extremely important. That's interesting. They'd updated the profile, which is something new. All of a sudden, we see to our next serious matters of national security. Although all this talk about inception of secret government messages is still conjecture at this stage. It would explain a number of things, though, wouldn't it? The negotiation Jeannie heard in the omnibus 2 months ago in the break-in and winning banks. The trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus, but Mr. McGilded. No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker, who was so horribly murdered. If only there was some link between the two men somehow. I know, but Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be watertight as ever. I wonder if the key towards making headway with the cross-examination here. Could it be those two brothers?
Objection!
Mr. Ashley Milverton. Tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by that name for years, and it means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name.
Explain yourself, please, counsel.
I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. And as we all know, the victim, the man we now understand to be negotiating with McGilded.
Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker?
That's right. Only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton.
Milverton? Do you mean to say... Saints alive!
Mr. Ashley Milverton. It is not the case of the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father.
No, I don't.
As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have to be thoroughly checked when you join the Silver Service. So it really would take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. The truth is, you have been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it to McGilded in collaboration with your father.
Ugh.
The new facts and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness will come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say? That you collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded.
I did to this music box, you mean, counsel?
Yes, stealing information being sent to secret government communications and selling it on to McGilded. Mr. Graydon conducted these elaborate schemes to use 2 music discs to encode the information, as presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands.
And a very effective one. I should have given the scheme any credence whatsoever.
But the deal with McGilded went sour, and the brickmaker met his end. Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen discs at the pawnbroker. Then, having learned of the situation, you appeared at Winterbank's 2 days ago, in an attempt to recover the 2 articles McGilded had placed in pawn there. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by the police and the other you never found. So that same night, you enlisted the help of the Silken brothers and broke into the pawnbrokery. This time, determined to recover the second disc.
Are you suggesting that the second disc was inside this music box?
We never knew nothing about that. On the night that Mr. Winnebago was killed. The intruder at the pawnbrokery touched one item and one item alone. The music box.
As rather ingeniously demonstrated by the two prints from the security camera, indeed.
So the question that naturally begs entry is this. Why is that the only article disturbed? The answer is obvious. Because it contained a second disc, which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. Since, if it were to fall in the hands of the police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny that all this actually began that fateful night, 2 months ago? I refuse to accept any of this nonsense. Sir? There appears to be blood seeping to the sleeve of your jacket. What? Ugh. 2 nights ago, we know that 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime at Winnipeg's pawnbrokery. One took the life of the pawnbroker himself. One struck the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the final bullet struck the calendar on the wall of the shop, having first pierced on the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, that wound on your arm that seems to be trying to hide, it's a bullet wound, isn't it? You got your eye on my own China. Time to call it quits and croak, I reckon. Don't acknowledge my presence there under the circumstances whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember, and I paid you handsomely to comply. Clearly I was a fool to think I could trust some common backslum thieves. Fine, I admit it. I was there at Winnipeg's that night. I paid this pair 10 guineas to accompany me. And as you now notice, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. But that is all. I admit to nothing more. Stealing government secrets, negotiating with Mr. McGilded. As God is my witness, I'm sure I recall nothing of the sort. He's not going to go down without a fight. Not until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has now established a crucial fact. Which is... Well, we know that 1 bullet was fired from each of the 2 firearms we have in evidence. The bullet from the Shulkin brothers' gun that hit the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the bullet from Mr. Winnebag's gun. Clearly it must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon on the arm.
Indeed it must. We can't rule out the possibility that the man shot himself.
And that leads us to the only conclusion. Mr. Winnebag was shot by a 3rd gun, which can now have been fired from the 3rd intruder.
Goodness!
That's right, Mr. Graydon. The only person who could have possibly have shot Mr. Winnebag that night is you.
Hold it.
You little upstart. You made a grave mistake when you summoned me here. What? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, as you rightfully say, I was there at the pawnbrokers. I did my best to hide that fact naturally. I had no intention of running the distinguished career I built for myself at the communications stadium. But did the thought never cross your mind that you never considered the possibility? What do you mean? What thought? What possibility? The possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed a crucial moment. You see, this makes me a key witness in this case, and I have my hands firmly around the neck of your client. What?
Are you suggesting?
I saw it all. I saw the very moment the pickpocket girl pointed the gun at the poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. You what? Order! Order! Order!
Well, it would seem we are finally entering the last cycle of this theoretical trial.
Mr. Graydon. Yes? I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. If it's shown that your claim is false, you will have been incriminating yourself as the killer. Oh, I understand fully.
Then I must ask you to give your full testimony once more. You explained to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defendant allegedly shot the victim.
Nothing would give me greater pleasure.
Well, these ruffians were joining down with the broker. I was
Still near the entrance of the shop. When winning back through Nash over the corner, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man and he shut himself in the storage room. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. The accused in the black coat shot the man in the back when he was trying to flee to safety. I saw the blood splatter all over the wretched girl. Then she tossed the gun over the peephole, and I picked it up and made my escape.
Good gracious, this is quite extraordinary testimony. You claim, sir, under oath, to have clearly seen the defendant pulling the trigger?
Order! 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 It wasn't my intention to testify in this way. But neither is my intention to be found guilty of a murder I didn't commit. So you see, my hand has been forced. I tell the truth now as this act of self-preservation. The truth? Until now, the prosecution was completely unaware of these details. Yes, well, sorry about that. Having shot me in the arm, the pawnbroker was then shot in the back by the accused. And as I said, she was showered in his blood. You say the blood splattered all over the accused's coat? Are you sure on that point? Oh yes, quite sure. All over the black overcoat the pickpocket girl was wearing at the time.
Really? If her coat was somehow be shown to harbor vestige of blood, it would be conclusive evidence here.
Such an investigation is entirely possible, my lord. What? Only very recently, German scientists have developed a technique to identify human blood. So here's to true science, not some amateurs detect this dubious foray of the world of chemistry. There's nothing dubious about Hurley's work. His ideas are all sound. Ideas are no use to us here. And in science, as in law, theories must be proven before they stand. In Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as a basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has a small quantity of the chemical research and use, with your lordship's permission. We could shatter all vestige with doubt within minutes. This doesn't look good, Renaud. Or not. Well, you know, don't we? That there's blood all over the blood of the coat of Jeannie's coat. If they tested with their chemicals... Oh, help, you're right. I was forgetting what happened yesterday. Don't move, Genie. I'm going to shoot. But that's not Mr. Winnipeg's blood. The stain is from 2 months ago. That's Mr. Mason's blood when he was stabbed by McGillen, who was wearing the coat at the time. My lord, the defense rejected the test proposed by the prosecution.
Overruled. Lord Van Zinks, make it so at once.
With pleasure, my lord.
And whilst we're waiting for the results, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination.
Once they find that blood on the overcoat, Gina will be...
Counsel!
Yes, my lord?
Your cross-examination!
Of course, my lord. If this cross-examination doesn't go well, I don't manage to uncover the decisive evidence or really completely clue now. I have a very bad feeling of the outcome of this trial.
Hold it!
Mr. Winnipeg emerged from the storage room, I believe. Ringo and Nash were scouring the counter when he suddenly appeared and flew at them. He already had his revolver in his hand. Fortunately, I wasn't too close. I've never been so scared of me life. Yeah, we're just very regular by-mail burglar, that's all. And we don't like violence. Says the pair who carried a gun. What do you mean when you say you were near the entrance to the shop? I was at the doorway, running my eyes over the shelves of forfeited items. Looking at the music box, of course. The broker went for Nash in the first place. Then Ringo joined in, making it 2 against 1, so I assumed they could handle the situation. But I was wrong. I was trying to help me little bruh, but the old geezer clucking me over the broom counter. So I pulled me gun an old fella and asked him to make a scamper.
The pair of you selling as a poor defenseless pawnbroker together? Shame on you.
Alright, Gov.
Hold it!
You mean that the moment you were shot? Yes, though I didn't immediately realize what had happened, of course. Things crashed on the floor of the counter as the 3 men were brawling. It was exactly the moment when it happened, and so I didn't hear the gunshot. Then the bullet went on to strike the calendar on the wall behind you? So it would appear. But I looked at my arm and I saw it was bleeding badly, so I wrapped my handkerchief around it. Seeing as I couldn't explain what had happened to the doctor, I had no choice but to wait it out for it to heal. I didn't imagine it would still be bleeding 2 days later. Did Mr. Winnipeg intend to shoot you, did you think? Well now, I don't imagine he would notice I was there, to be honest. Perhaps the gun went off accidentally. Anyway, I didn't quite strike home. When he pulled out my gun, I had him try to shove me out of the way. And then he scampered through the door and back.
At which point, what did you do?
Hold it!
You mean you chased after him? I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back of the shop. And what about this peephole at the door you mentioned? Way on suppression, laid a storage room door. It's a solid job, made of stout wood. But there's a small opening in there, and about head high that lets you see what's in there for a minute. Actually, I should know that, shouldn't I? I looked through it myself that night. And what about the burgling? What about you, burglar brother? Did you see why you went through this peephole as well? Not likely, gun. You see nothing on the damn gun. I doubt the stupid fools were even aware of the people's existence. The Shulkin brothers were there, but they didn't see the killing of Mr. Winnipeg take place? Inside the storage room, I could see the broker and the young girl standing there.
Defendant?
Yes, though neither of them noticed that I was looking. The girl raised her gun and pointed it straight to the man.
And then, what did you see next?
Hold it!
Yes, when the crime was discovered, the defendant was holding the gun in her hand. And that was Mr. Winnebag's gun, which only had been a single bullet has been fired. And as for simply stylish, Mr. Graydon, that bullet was fired at you. But no, it wasn't the broker's gun that the pickpocket girl had when I saw her. Yes, the bullet for Winnebag's gun grazed my arm. And yes, the Shokin's gun grounded the detective. But this was another gun entirely. A third gun. The broker's gun was not the murder weapon, so it clearly had been a third firearm involved. In other words, the accused must have had her own gun with her at the time.
Objection!
But no other gun was found at the scene. Calm yourself, counsel. Sorry? You must consider the events in order. At first I saw the broker and the girl glaring at each other, and then all of a sudden, the broker turned to run. And it was at the moment that the little gutter rat shot him in the back.
A chilling image, I must say.
Hold it!
All over her? Yes, through the peephole. I saw it clearly. Of course the stains were visible now, what's with the cloak being such a dark color. But I assure you, that garment is soaked with the victim's blood. Well, it was soaked with blood, that's for sure. But it's not Mr. Winnebag's blood, is it? No, that's right. It's Mr. Mason Milverton's blood from when Matt killed his staff 2 months ago. So annoying. If they only accept Herbley's chemical analysis, we could prove that. But they won't. But unfortunately, we can't use it as evidence to support a case. Bother.
Hold it!
Did I hear you correctly? She threw the gun out of the room? That's right. After the broker fell on the floor, she started walking over.
Over where exactly?
In the direction of the storage door to where I was watching. Of course, I quickly retreated, and then the girl dropped the gun through the peephole through the floor inside the door.
Why on earth would she do such a thing?
I couldn't tell you. Perhaps she was hoping to distance herself with a murder weapon. Without thinking, and when they pick it up, I suppose I was worried about just leaving it there, in case any more tragedies took place. So it was you, in fact, who took the third gun from the scene of the crime? Yes, it was yours truly. I left to clear up with my lackeys and left. Clear up? We made a bit of a mess in the counter, so Whistler Fluid here told us to tidy it up. He thinks that blue mum sometimes. I was paying you enough, by God. Ugh. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket?
You little toe rag!
You're like a bull at the gate, aren't you?
Excuse me!
Gentlemen. Something wrong, Sunshine? That should be my line. You do realize you were just violently shaking Mr. Shulkin? Blimey, this dude's a bit of a hooligan, ain't he? What was going on just now? You saw him, he grabbed me a whistle. Why the blazes, he said, you mentioned that the guy was down in the station. And why didn't you? 'Cause we didn't know nothing about it. I'm the flaming people on that door. Sorry about that. I can't be prone to losing my rag sometimes. Not her, aren't you? God blimey, see the way he's looking at me? I'm telling you, this dude gave me the willies. That was strange. The inspector doesn't normally get quite as worked up as that. He wouldn't normally grab someone. No, doesn't like Grexy at all. Normally all sweetness and lying no matter what I say to him. Yes, well, I think you might be a special case, Iris. Well, anyway, that was definitely out of character. My lord! Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination.
Explain yourself, officer.
I have to resolve with the laboratory torch that you ordered earlier, my lord. Ah, the blood on the accused's overcoat.
Thank you, officer. Very well. The cross-examination hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objections, counsel?
No, my lord. Well, there you have it. The report, please, Inspector. Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found on the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. From the extent of the stains, it would appear that they were the result of splattering around the gunshot wound.
End of report. Goodness me!
See? What did I tell you?
Objection!
No, the blood in the overcoat is not Mr. Winnebank's.
What on earth did you say that, counsel?
The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited on Winnebank's, McGilded had fatally stabbed at Mr. Mason Milverton. So the blood on the overcoat is the blood of the brickmaker from the omnibus case.
Objection!
Well, the dead cannot speak. Isn't that right, my Nipponese friend? Sorry? "2 months ago in this very courtroom, did you not argue firstly over McGilded's innocence? And yet now that the man is dead, you branded him as a murderer? Your conduct shatters any shred of respect that you may have earned yourself in this country." No, but that was... I call it a blood and displaced treachery, that's what it is. How do I determine whether blood in that bulb was 2 months old or not? Well, a stereoscope can help me answer that problem, pop out. It can't be done. But we use Mr. Schoen's specialty for medicaments.
Mr. Schoen is the defendant, not a chemist.
Did you simply put faith in the chemical formula deceived by me, for example, when I'm a communications officer? I held up Perlosiski by stopping, but he ran the right crying. Sherlock Sholmes is barely more than a figment of the public imagination. His name carries no weight in this courtroom. No weight at all. How could you say that?
Victory is sweet indeed.
This proves that my testimony is the whole truth from start to finish.
How do you arrive at such a conclusion, sir?
As the witness said, the accused's coat was splattered with the blood of the victim. The only way Mr. Graydon could have possibly have known that fact is if he saw it happen. In other words, his testimony was solid, and the conclusion is singular. It was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth. Ah!
My lord!
Been a long battle this one, but this old warehouse has something to say now, if you please.
Mr. Foreman?
As of this moment, sir, I squatter must reach his final decision. Ready, men? All in one now. Sir!
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Well, it would appear that, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, has reached an unanimous verdict.
The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness's testimony. Here's to any attempt you make by the unpicking the jury's decision being equally successful. Ugh.
Ugh.
I don't believe it. After I come so far, how does it unravel me so fast? How very distressing to be held in such low esteem. Would you agree, Mr. Netherherdo?
Officer, you deliver the report now. That will be all, thank you.
It occurred to me with some irregularity, Mr. Netherherdo. The scientific truths are determined not by sight, but none other than the human mind. I know that voice. Am I going mad? Ah! Mr. Sholmes!
What? What is the meaning of this?
Order! 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 What business do you have here, detective? The last I heard, you were recuperating in hospital. As well as should be, had I not been upon an errand. What errand? Early, it's really you! You're awake at last! Yes, good day, Iris. I appear to be rather late to rise, my apologies. Now, my lord, if you will humor me.
In what matter, sir?
I have something of great importance I wish to get to the young lawyer over there.
I need no more than 5 minutes. Would you be so kind as to spare us the time? What did you do to this, Lord Benzies?
This trial has taken many hours of the court's time, having spent so long already.
Exactly! Having spent so long already, I don't want to go wasting any more precious time.
As I was saying, I have spent so long already, it would be churlish to deny the defense a mere 5 minutes.
Very well then, counsel, you have 5 minutes.
My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival. Mr. Sholmes, are you alright now? Alright? I'm all wrong. Sorry? I only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I asked it just for 5 minutes. But I fear even you may prove too much for me. Pray forgive me should I pass out. Let's make this discussion as short as possible. Hardly, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is. Oh well, that corrosion of mine is really just a bit of a sport to assist me in my investigations. I never took the trouble to refine my appeasal of the scientific community, and oversight of my part. Right, modesty? Surely not. But enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. What's that? A lavender frisky weapon? How learning and pleasant. From Miss Usato. From Miss Usato? If possible, matters were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were mere instructions which she asked me to do me her this favor. I don't understand. Miss Usato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew that the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means more devious and underhand, and that you, Mr. Netherherder, fighting fairly as you want to do, you find yourself in considerable peril. At this very moment of crisis, you were to be given a small paracel. Those were the dear lady's instructions. A leaving present for Susato-san. Whatever could it be? What is this? Oh! It's a machine I made! Ah! Look, I used this! It's my latest invention! What is that? I call it the cat flamat. It can make a cat fly for every furry friendly wacky in seconds. What's Susie up to? Mrs. Zaza started the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a digital assistant. What? Didn't she say something like that? You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Whatever did you mean by that, Mrs. Sholmes? That night, when you left Winnebags in pursuit of the thieves. Mrs. Otto may use this contraction for a certain purpose. That is your answer, dear fellow. Not at all cryptic, then. Susato-san used this careful mat that night? But why? Your 5 minutes is over. We're out of time already? I'm grateful for you for affording us a brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, Detective. After all, the die is cast. Is it really? The jurors are unanimous of their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider summarization of the examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder... Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? The rest is down to you, my dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me? I need to be careful here. If I make a wrong move, the trial will end badly. My lord, the defense requests. Further cross-examination.
Objection!
The jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine any new witness now.
Objection!
The defense is not asking for cross-examination of a new witness, rather to continue with the existing witness. What? It would appear that the rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. My lord! We'll question your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination.
Thank you, officer. Very well. The cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel?
No, my lord. So nobody can say anything then. If we're not asked to resume cross-examination of Mr. Graydon, the court is obliged to allow it.
This is absurd. I would remind those at present that this is my courtroom. I concur that the defense is entirely within its right to request a continuation of the cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unwilling correction of any proceedings. Therefore, I have decided to afford the defense one final opportunity to conclude the cross-examination. Counsel, you may choose but one statement from the witness testimony, and but one piece of evidence to present to support your argument against it.
A single chance to present evidence?
If following that the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to a justification. Is that clear, counsel? You will not press any witness any further.
My lord. Yes, my lord. A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's high time I fell in a dead faint. I leave this in your capable hands. Oops! He fell. Mr. Jones! It's the way he fell. It's just so hilarious.
To stand so considerably before the trial is such a high fever. Neither the man has extraordinary strength of mind and extraordinary lack of feeling.
I imagine he's very, very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers. Strike a man when he's down, why don't you?
Well then, counsel, are you fully prepared?
Yes. One statement. One piece of evidence. I won't let Mr. Sholmes down. Or Iris. And I won't waste my final chance that Susato-san had given me. This is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial.
Very well then. Under the terms I have outlined, you may resume the cross-examination.
Objection!
What on earth is that exchange contraption, Council?
Oh, it's my clever mag, my lord. It's to make way of cats to get in or out of the room. It can cut through any door you can think of and make a new little door in the middle of it. That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. Small doors for cats to come and go as they please without their owners having to open the main door. I'm sure we can all work that out ourselves. Ah! But the cat lovers controversy had no possible relevance to this case. Oh, really? Of course it doesn't. To start with, there is no cat flap in the pawnbroker's door.
Not being a keeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I fail to see how it has to do in a matter of hand.
Perhaps it could help if I could describe its function another way then? This contraption is able to create a peephole of any door you can imagine in practically no time at all.
I beg your pardon? A peephole, you say?
2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Winterbeck had taken place. That's right. According to paperwork at the yard, it was you, your Japanese assistant, and Sholmes. Yes, the 3 of us were together, and it recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of the device at the time.
Your assistant did what?
There was a peephole at the storage room door. I can attest to that. Because I looked through the peephole myself in order to see what was inside the locked storage room. This is ludicrous. What are you trying to say? Of course there was a peephole at the door. I said as much in my testimony. How else could I witness the crime, for pity's sake? Yes. How could you? What?
Council, kindly say what you mean.
Alright, it's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My sister made the peephole in the storage room door, and until such time as she did, the door had no hole in it to look through. What? No!
Objection!
This is a farce. Are you really suggesting that the peephole in the door was... Yes, it was created only after the incident took place by my judicial assistant using this device.
Your assistant tampered with the crime scene while being fully aware of the gravity of her actions? That is the most serious act of vandalism.
For which I humbly apologize, my lord. It wasn't a few minutes after I left the scene in order to pursue the Sorkin brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in the light of this new information, it became apparent that Mr. Grady's testimony is riddled with holes.
Riddled with... Explain yourself, counsel.
The majority of Mr. Grady's testimony that appears to incriminate the defendant is based upon what he witnessed through the peephole in the storage room door. Yes, that filthy girl shooting a man in the back. However, if at the time of the incident that the peephole did not exist yet at the door, there's no possible way that you could have seen what you claim to have seen. In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies. Ugh. Order!
Is there any credence of this revelation?
Objection!
None whatsoever, as my learned friend must surely realize. Exactly! It is some cheap trick designed to discredit me. I'm afraid not, sir. Of course it is. You say they expect people to believe that the plaything can cut through the solid wooden door. Oh yes, I understand it to be very powerful. It can cut through even the toughest of doors. Absurd, I don't believe for a second. I had a feeling you said that. What? Wacky, cozy, time for dinner. Well?
Young lady, this is the Old Bailey. Why does that make a cat flap for the Oak Friendly and the Old Bailey?
I'm not done yet, don't worry. This doesn't mean that the people in the storage room door at Winnebags was made by your machine. There's no way you can prove that it was. No, but it's easy. What? The cat flaps my mat creates in all the fixed size. And the dimensions of the people at Winnebags are exact match. Ugh. Oh, Silky's lost for words. Excellent work, Iris. Thank you. And how my learned students turn to be lost for words, I feel. I believe your traditional assistant has already left the country for your Eastern Highland home. Well, yes, that's true. Then you may have some difficulty establishing all the facts. For the sake of argument, let us assume that people have dimensions that are a perfect fit for the contraption. In that case, when was the people cut? And prosecution demand proof of your answer. Ah!
What is the purpose of blood inquiry, Lord Van Zix?
It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the people was created after the incident using this device. But now that the perpetrator has returned to our native land, she cannot testify to the fact. There is no proof. Ugh. And for the long as defendants remains unable to provide when the people was made, my learned friend's claim amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation. What?
Indeed, it is so, Lord Van Zix. Well, counsel?
Don't give up now, Reno. This is the time to create your own opening and force your way through. I don't know if I could do this, but I do know one thing. Susato-san is the greatest judicial assistant in the world.
Very well, the counsel for the defense will present evidence to support the claim made. Prove that the people of the doorway Winnipeg storage room was created after the event and not before.
Take that!
What are you? A print of the detective's infernal cameras again? My judicial assistant, Miss Uzako Mikotoba, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman, which is why I never had any cause of doubt that she would have considered the scenario and made sure I had the necessary proof.
The necessary proof is this photographic print, counsel?
This print shows the scene of the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises. Agreed. And it also shows the accused mercifully wielding a gun in the direction of the defendant's broker. But there's more to the print. It pictures the storage room door in the background.
Let me see the print again. I don't believe it. This really is remarkable. The door of the storage room is completely devoted to the people in any description.
Ah. Mr. Graydon. You couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime that you claim to have done, because at the time it happened, there was no peephole in the door. Ugh. In other words, your testimony is a catalog of lies. Ora! Ora! Ora!
I am satisfied with the defense has sustained its claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness testimony was entirely fabulous.
That's not the only thing we know beyond a reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. The woman tampered with the crime scene. But more importantly,
Good lord, there's more, Lord Van Zix?
the defense may establish a repentable incident of perjury. But that is no proof that the man is the victim's killer. Yes, that's right. What? I was there at the scene. It's true. And I was shot in the arm. It's true. But that's all. Yes, in fact, if you look at the circumstances, I am the victim here. Oh, please, no! I don't believe this. They're right, as it stands now. I don't have any definitive proof that he is the culprit. Still, he can't work his way out of it now. Iris? You know what they say. But there's no point locking the cat's door after the cat had bolted. It's not right, Runa. As Hurley always says, one line begets another. No, wait, that might be a line I wrote for him in one of my stories. Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. Mr. Graydon, not only did you give false testimony to the court, but the lie you told made no sense. Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark? What you say in your testimony reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there is a fundamental inconsistency in your statements. What?
Objection!
This is periodically top counsel. When you enlighten the court, explain this alleged inconsistency. Iris was white. One lie begets another. The inconsistency is revealed by the lies of the witness statements. They show that Mr. Graydon had knowledge of something he should have known nothing about. Mainly, the point is not you lied to the testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie you control that it is revealing. You're not making any sense. And let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the people in the storage room door? What? Well, obviously I...
Does the cat got your tongue, witness?
The people in the door was made after the incident occurred. And once I returned to the shop having failed to catch the two burglars, Scotland Yard's investigator arrived immediately. Since that time, the police have been on Winnipeg's consistently carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Well, yes, of course, I placed his clock full of hard articles and the lad had to thoroughly examine them all. So I gave the order to have officers working around the clock in shifts so we get through them all. And consequently, there is no way that you, Mr. Green, could have gained such access to the shop. Therefore, you should have known nothing of the people in the storage room door. So the fact that the existence of the primary basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable.
Objection!
And yet, the fact remains that Mr. Green didn't maintain that he witnessed the crime take place through the people in the door.
How on earth is that possible?
Could I have a word, please, Madam 6? Speak, Inspector. It's just that I really ought to get back to the station now I pulled in my report. There's really nothing more I can add to the testimony, so if it all is the same to you, permission denied. Oh. It's not the same to me, Inspector. Not at all. You will remain exactly where you were until this trial concludes. Oh, of course, sir. Mr. Graydon. You shouldn't have known about the existence of the people. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else.
Objection!
Stop there, my learned friend. You realize, I trust, that the words you just uttered had extremely serious implications. Yes, but the defense believes that the details about this case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. And in fact, considering the particular clue we have, there's really only one person that could have.
Who was the person in question, counsel? Who gave this witness details of the crime scene and fabricated his false testimony?
Take that!
The truth is, it could only have been you, Inspector Gregson.
Me?
Objection!
You had better have some proof to sustain such a rash claim, my learned friend. Considering the fact that we only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours, we learned of it only during the course of the trial today.
Indeed, preparation for his testimony was made by the great urgency during a hour-long recess. Well, the police could execute a subpoena and brought the man here in the communication station.
And until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea, no inkling that it would suddenly be required to appear in court.
Are you suggesting that until such time he was summoned?
Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume that he knew nothing of the people. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position, that he would have been defending himself against the accusation if he was the third intruder. You're suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress that he received the information, so that he could prepare perjury in order to save his skin? Exactly. And the only person who had knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson.
This is a bloomin' outrage. Why would I be giving away details of the investigation of this fella here? I was under his doors in chambers during my recent in the case. Have you forgotten that?
Quite true. I have a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbrokery.
Which means, the first time these two laid eyes on another lawyer was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, they have been on full view in the stand, where such no ill-intent discussion could have possibly have occurred.
Ah!
Oh, I just remembered something, Bruno. What is it, Iris? There's one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Jeannie was testifying. Oh yes, now that you mention it. When the bailiff was dispatched to receive Miss Gilda's music box for the scene of the crime. That's it. It was during that testimony. I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Green and the inspector seems to be having some kind of secret discussion. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon his information he needed then.
You little toe rag, you're making this all a rag. Now, I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? I'll never get away confidential to the likes of this bloke.
Immediately, you wouldn't have any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps it was a part of the deal of some kind that started to make more sense.
What deal, Counsel?
I wonder if perhaps in exchange for details of the peephole at the crime scene, Mr. Graydon agreed to give certain something to an inspector.
Sure, I needed to remind the inspector that if found to be true, striking a deal with any kind of the witness will be considered gross feta malicious.
Well,
Objection!
it's becoming clear that jumping in with the conclusion that this Nipponese student's specialty. I don't do that. But with the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense not to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim. Evidence? Just what are you proposing that the inspector demanded of the witness in return? The court must see proof of this alleged deal. If Inspector Gregson didn't really strike a deal with Mr. Graydon, then logically, there's only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it. I don't know. Do you think it could be... Yes. It is the missing link that will join all the dots together in this puzzle.
I must press you for your answer now, Counsel. What evidence explains the nature of this alleged deal that Inspector Gregson had with this witness?
Inspector Gregson, besides this murder, is it not true that you've been working on another very important case?
What? Are you getting that? Why are you getting that now, Sunshine?
Is it possible that this other top secret case is what eluded you in this newspaper article here? That classified secrets being leaked overseas by the Ministry of Justice.
How the bleeding nowhere could you?
We discovered during the course of this trial the music box deposited in Winnebags by Magnus McGilded. A special music box designed to play 2 discs at once. It would seem very likely now that encoded this pair of discs that were in McGilded's possession are the leaked classified secrets. So I put it to you, Inspector, that in order to recover the second of the discs containing those secrets, you conveniently made a deal with Mr. Green in which you saved the disc for details of the case. You little...
Order!
On the day of the incident, when we met you at Winnebags, you said this.
I'll be taking out whatever it is to McGilda down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is mine. I'm sorry, miss. But anything belong to McGilda has to be taken as evidence now.
Scotland Yard already knew at the time, isn't that right? That Magnus McGilda was involved in the stealing of government secrets. My orders were recover the medium used to combine the secret leaked by the ministry and do it on the QT, strictly hush-hush. And that explains why when I present this disc as evidence of the court, you have checked it so heavily, I presume. Because you knew that it contained highly confidential information.
Blimey, not likely. I mean, I wasn't sure of it myself. I mean, there was a possibility, that's all.
Inspector, surely you're not saying that in order to require the second of this disc, you did indeed reveal confidential details of the crimes to the witness? To aid and abet a man in giving false testimony?
There's no other way that Mr. Green could have known of the existence of those people. In the only explanation, the deal was struck between the two men.
No!
Objection!
If I stress if, this sobering exertion turned out to be founded in truth, it wouldn't mean that the second disc is, as we speak, here in this very courtroom. Wait, what? In this room? How can you possibly make that claim like that? Because Inspector Gregson is a Scotland Yard detective. What?
What that supposed to mean, eh?
As a seasoned policeman, the inspector will have perused this alleged deal with caution. Certainly he would not accept the gentleman's agreement to this matter. No, he would have insisted by having the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand.
Good gracious, then you mean to say Inspector Gregson already has the item in question in his possession? He has the second disc already in his person?
Yes!
The defense demands that the inspector search at once.
Definitely.
They could only have struck a deal with each other when Jeannie was testifying before. And Gregson hasn't moved from the witness stand once since. My lord, please, order examination of this personal offense immediately.
Well, Inspector?
This gentleman now wants to tone down his imagination. He insulted me and my profession quite enough. However, if I put this matter to bed and dispel any doubts about my involvement, I'll help us submit it to a body search. What? He's going to agree with it? I presume you're aware that precisely which you're now teetering on, student friend. You made the most serious accusation against Scotland Yard here. If following the search of the expected personal offense, no disc is found, you will be deemed unfit to court service. This trial will end, and my country's government will formally demand of yours to be severely reprimanded. That sounds serious.
Indeed, to help a visiting student make such definitely regards of our country's most senior police force is not something Her Majesty's government will be able to overlook.
You're just letting you in it because you're scared. The accusation is beyond serious. You must be prepared for grave consequences. It's true. I can't imagine Gregson would be accepted a gentleman's agreement for something so critical. And this must have physically changed hands, which means the inspector should have it. But somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here.
Very well, Counsel. You know the implications, so let me ask you this one more time.
Yes, my lord.
Do you still permit on formally requesting a search of the inspector's personal effects?
Yes, the defense formally demands the search to be conducted.
Well,
Don't say you were warned, but your typical nippity stubbornness may well land you in hot water this time. Perhaps the lesson will do you some good. Fair enough. I got nothing to hide.
very well then. Bailiff, conduct a search of the inspector's personal effects, please.
The defense demands a search, but not Inspector Gregson. What? Now what's all this? I'm the one you accusing, ain't I? I thought you wanted to search me. No, Inspector, not you. Somebody else. What's the meaning of all this, hey? Lost in that last have you sunshine? I guess I should have put on with this nonsense. You're being completely irrational. Quiet, all of you. Reno's doing what you want to tell him to do and having the courage of his convictions. But you should respect that and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's the British way.
Well said, young lady. Indeed, this court is of awe of defense counsel's conviction and eagerly waits his experts.
You what? Not on behavior, my lord. If I'm not mistaken about this things I've seen in court today. I'm fairly sure that I know who has that disc at the moment. There's only one person it could be.
Counsel, I'm going to request this search now.
Take that!
Oh, my lord. Mr. Nash Sulkin. Oh, never. Blomley, me here?
Very well then. Bailiff, restrain the witness and conduct a thorough search of his personal effects.
Please, my lord.
Inspector?
Scotland Yard, after a check to the search.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here. In this courtroom, only the prosecution and defense have the authority to reject. But, my Lord Ranjish, I have no idea what forces are at play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial.
Bailiff, carry out the search.
Now, not more. I know nothing. Nothing about no dish. Cut it out! Here, my lord, in this witness pocket. Found dish.
Good lord, that's...
Another music box disc. I know nothing about it. None. That is the second music DOS disc left behind by Matt Gilded. Is it not, Inspector Gregson? Order!
Mr. Shulkin, what do you have to say for yourself?
Gordon Bennett, Gordon Fleming Bennett. I swear I don't know nothing about this dish. Honest to God.
Counsel, what do you mean? Please explain what is going on here. The alleged deal that was struck in between these witnesses and this detective, no?
Without question, my lord.
Then for pity's sakes, why on earth was this man in possession of that disc that was an inspector traded for information?
Inspector Gregson is a skewer, calculating man who rarely lost his composure. But in that one particular moment in the trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior for a brief moment.
I don't recall what unusual behavior.
Ah! It was, yes, during my cross-examination with Mr. Graydon. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbroker that night, was it by any chance the second disc in your jacket pocket? I admit to nothing of the sort. While Mr. Graydon answered my questions, the inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash Shulkin by his collar and shaking him violently. Yeah, he didn't know. Not me nugget was gonna fall on clean dead. I was wishing I'd be born as me brother, I was. And what exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that? I ain't got a clue, he just suddenly turned and grabbed me and wished you and started shaking me. Wait a minute, you mentioned the third gun was down in the station, that's what he said. Got it right down my ear horn, Daddy. Me hand's still throbbing now. The way detective behavior then was extremely out of character. But looking back now, it must have been that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc.
Well, bless my flag, he hit it?
You.
I'm afraid I failed to capture the moment here. If the detective has acquired a disc as he was after, why on earth would he have proceeded to hide it from another man's pocket? This is the court of law. He should be submitted an item as evidence.
It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. Why ever not? If the man himself revealed it earlier, the current assignment would have some special conditions. My orders were, recover the meter used to convoy the secret sleep of the ministry, and do it to a QT, strictly hush-hush.
Hush, hush. A top secret assignment, is it?
As far as we're aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem that the information were to be revealed as court as evidence, it would be problematic. Does that sum up the situation, Inspector? I'm under strict orders from the ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing there was a chance that you may search here in court, you took steps to hiding the disc you acquired from the witness.
Oh, does that mean...
You only pretended to attack Mr. Sulkin in order to get close enough to him, to slip the second disc into his pocket.
It was all a pretense? Well now, Inspector Gregson, and you, Mr. Graydon. Are you prepared to admit the accusation he made against you in this alleged deal?
Admit to it, yours truly, please. Mr. Graydon! Clearly your Eastern visitor has some uncommonly active imagination. However, there's no proof that I passed the disc to the inspector.
Objection!
But then, how do you explain the reason why you knew about the peephole? I'm under no obligation to explain. What? Yes, I lied in my testimony. That I admit. Don't sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit. Murder, leaking government secrets, striking a deal with a detective. All of it is this young man's fancy. I have no idea what any of that is about. You... what? Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? Do you admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc? Ladies and gentlemen, dearie, as a Scotland Yard inspector, I will declare this and nothing more.
I am acting as the best interest of the country. Whatever I've done, it's been in the name of justice. So, as members of the public of this fine country, I like to think that justice will be your guiding line when you're making your decisions.
That is quite a conjury indeed. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary turbulence with the concluding of the trial. Nevertheless, there is absolutely any further evidence to be presented. I believe it is time that we put this matter to the jury for their final learnings.
Well now, a fellow servant in Queen and Country, I must say I sympathize with the old inspector. Yes, he is a dependable man, I'm sure. A service, one is a good judge of character. You've been crossing your eyes and how when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blurred to me.
Well, as a fellow professional, I like to put my faith in detective, really.
Radiant's Highness Guild Officer, stop. Currently in presence of idle, stop. Detective has very much trust in eyes. More than his, I cannot say. I don't believe it. The 6 jurors are. They're going to believe Gregson. If they declare the decision now. Is Jeannie going to be found guilty? If I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, then we're going to lose. It is to prove that Graydon killed Mr. Winterbank and stole some government secrets. And some evidence to force Grayson into admitting that he struck a deal with the witnesses.
Well then, counsel, I think it's time to impose on the jurors to declare their final decisions, you know? That is, unless you have some compelling evidence you have thus so far to present to the court.
I thought the judge calling the jurors to announce a leading Jeannie will be found guilty. There's no choice then, Runa. They have to throw some more evidence at them. This is it now. It all comes down to this. Who do I present evidence against? Gregson or Graydon? Inspector Gregson, there is one final piece of evidence I would like you to see. What's that then? If you refuse to acknowledge that you did in fact strike a deal with the witness here today, then you leave us no choice but to examine this piece of evidence thoroughly. Well, go on. This is my last chance. It looks like I'm going to have to force my hand here. One final piece of evidence to get the detective to admit he struck it to the deal he struck with Graydon.
Take that!
Is that Mr. McGillis' particular music box, counsel?
Yes, with the disc already in place, ready to play. I think perhaps now will be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music box again. Only this time, with the second disc we discovered set in place as well.
Goodness, this counsel?
No, wait, I can't let you do that. Why not? Because, well, because it's got nothing to do with this case, that's why.
Objection!
Not true, Inspector. The defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier in this music box were part of the Morse code message. We know that Morse code provides the two distinct tones. The defense believes the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message. And now we have a chance to confirm that theory. Crying out loud, sunshine. We're crying out loud, sunshine. We're talking about trade secrets here. If you're going in the courtroom, hearing confidential information like that, it's treason. And do you admit to charge? In order to protect these state secrets, you engage in lawful dealings with the witness? You're mad. If you let the secret information out of the public domain, you'll be making an enemy of the entire British government, you idiot. Let's not forget, Inspector, that you as Scotland Yard officer leaked confidential case details to the witness.
that you continue to lie to the court, and I'll be coming by fair means and foul. You're determined to do your duty. If by fair means and foul, I'm prepared to do mine. Don't you dare! I will stop nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of. My lord, if you please. The court must hear the sounds made by that music box.
Come on, man. He's got Pete Shake Stockholm.
Objection!
Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet. In this courtroom, my duty is the law. So let me propose a toast. For uncovering the truth, my fair means are foul.
No!
Very well. The defense stands here, and the prosecution has been made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense request, the court will not listen to the music box and sent to operation once more. This time, with the second disc played, and both discs played simultaneously.
Oh, listen to that. It's unmistakable now. It's Morse code.
Alright, a minute, whatever you want, but for the love of God, shut that bloomin' box up!
Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you, or did you not, strike a deal with the witness next to you on the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon?
Specifically, did you furnish the witness with confidential case details in exchange of this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the people in the pawnbroker's storage room door, Inspector?
I did. Stop!
What are you doing, man?
It's all a shackle, as the young Eastern lawyer said. And the trial resumed after the recess, and we were stood there for a second together. That was when he approached me with a deal. Shut up, you imbecile! Shut up! Psst, you there. You're the detective who turned up with the pawnbroker the other day, aren't you? I may have something you're looking for, Inspector, with me in this very moment. So how about a trade? I suggest you accept. More information on certain individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed. I couldn't let that information become public knowledge, not under any circumstances. So I accepted the man's proposal and told him details about the case that should have put him in the clear. The people in the storage room door, and the bloodstains on the undercoat. By giving false testimony, this witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that, yet you still revealed the details and fabricated the witness's perjury. I did. But then it turns out the people had only been met that night after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, if I'm perfectly honest. Well, Mr. Graydon, what do you say for yourself? There's nothing and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape conviction of a very serious crime. Namely this. You are the third intruder who broke in the pawnbroker on the night in question. And you perpetrated the murder of the prospector, Mr. Pop Winnebank. You... Traitor! Damn.
Bailiff! Restrain that man! At once!
That's it then. It's all over. I despised my life growing up. Those slums are vile places. I was cursed from birth, born into poverty, the son of a penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. What little money they had was never spent on me. So I set about studying, to better myself, to one day escape from that hellhole.
You eventually became the communications officer. I admire your determination.
But then you decided to sell the government secrets? Why? Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money. Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out, with more money than anyone who lived in that squalor could ever imagine. Then one day, I met him. Mr. Magnus McGilded. You agree with a quick talent, so you are. I've money to throw you away if you're interested. All you have to do is go along with my little plan now. I was to steal the Ministry telegraphic messages and McGilded would buy them for a handsome sum. As I was responsible for instructions for the Ministry Communications Office, it was a simple enough task. The lures of the devil's offerings, how easy it is to succumb.
But you must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you were committing.
And for that reason, I took great lengths to ensure that my actions were untraceable. By using this music box. My father was a brickmaker, though my mother divorced him when I was still a child. Yes, Mr. Mason Milverton. That's right. He was very skilled with his hands. He once been a music box maker apprentice. I imagine his skills would be sufficient to create a machine that would generate Morse code. So I sought out my father again to employ his services. It was the first time I see him since I left the slums 10 years earlier.
Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you've become, eh?
He was a different man from one of my memory. A thin, frail old man. But poverty never broke him. Never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure he wouldn't have helped me if I told him the real person. I made up a story. I got some work for you, Father. I need a music box disc made.
Music box discs, huh? A musician friend of mine has written some music you want to sell to the public. I brought the score with me. There are two, actually. I'd be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I did any work like this, though. Fetch my tools, would you? They're at the loft.
That's how I had to make the 2 discs. Theoretically explaining the information until you were taking the considerable precautions you need. It was to protect myself for such as anything. It meant that I could deal with McGilded with 2 separate transactions. The first involved the first of the 2 discs and the music blocks for playing them. I exchanged it with McGilded for 10 guineas. Then on receipt of the second disc, he would pay 1,000 guineas. So what happened on the omnibus 2 months ago? What's the second part of the deal? The exchange of the second disc. Yes. I sold the man information that way a number of times already. Eventually he became reluctant to part with his money.
Well, that doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon. For why was that omnibus months ago? Your father, Mr. Milverton, was the one dealing with McGilded and not yourself.
When I received my 1,000 guineas after I first completed dealings with McGilded, I decided to get 200 of my father in his troubles. But my father realized something was amiss. In time, he worked out that I must be involved in something dubious. But he did. He said to me,
Next time there's an exchange, you let your old man do it, understand? Otherwise I won't take your money anymore.
that was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. climb into the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilded. That's it. He had no idea what was actually on the disc I asked him to make. He never knew. Just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night. All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home. It was only then that I found out what sort of monster McGilded really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore on my father's name. To extract revenge. Revenge? As anyone with a remote knowledge of this man will no doubt to be able to imagine. McGilded brought all the wealth and influence to bear in the most despicable of ways. To crush any resemblance of justice in his trial. The crime scene was tampered with, evidence was fixed, and witnesses were bribed. The trial 2 months ago was a farce from start to finish. My feet are barely touched with the British soil back then, and I walk into the Hornet's nest completely unaware of the sinister background to it all. I made plenty of money out of my dealings with McGilded by then, so I spared nothing to my agreement 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. If you're willing to pay the price, there are people in the city willing to do anything you ask. McGilded himself has shown me that. Are you saying that? I think you have the picture now. After retwisting everything for his favor to his courtroom to ensure that he walked free. I took matters in my own hands and delivered the justice that monster deserved. That tragic accident following the trial here 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly. McGilded's death that way was caused by this man. Everything's ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. What's this, officer? 'Tis true that I like to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There are some changes in the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. This time for the inspection. I'm going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for myself. So that policeman who came to tell McGillard that he could examine the omnibus again. That's right, an imposter, hired by me. McGilded used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He had people to adulterate the omnibus with all manners of false evidence. He threatened witnesses to lie in their testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham policemen ushered McGilded inside and sent him to a one-way journey to hell. An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death.
A spine-chilling account indeed.
But that wasn't the end of it for me. There was a loose end, you see. A loose end? Yes, I should think it's obvious. The second disc, which my father had taken to exchange with McGilded.
Oh, yes. There was indeed no mention in this man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it has been removed from the scene of the crime.
When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGilded. This is the first of 2 discs, and the music box you need to play. Well, look at that now. What a generous little invention. So then, as promised, 10 guineas for you, young man. Ooh, what's this? Winnipeg's pawnbrokery? Aye, this is a pawnbroker ticket so it seems. Ye can use it to redeem an article that I deposited for ye. There's no need to give a name. Just hand over the ticket and tell the fiend with the watchword. I pulled a true upon for ye. I fetched as good as 10 guineas if you said it would. I never heard of the pawnbrokery being used in quite some way before. Have ye not, Mr. Graydon? London's pawnbrokers are a very usual place, you know. Each one is like a extremely secure vault. So I knew that if he'd taken steps to hide the disc, it would be in that pawnbroker somewhere. And that on that night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the tickets to someone. Yes, to Gina. I remember now. But when we first met you at Winnipeg that afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know you were looking for? From the trial, the pickpocker's testimony was clearly particular. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately that she was another one of Gillet's pawns, that she had been threatening her somehow. I was barely convinced that it would have been her who had the ticket. So I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork at the redemption deadline. And he was absolutely right. And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was wait till the girl went to Winnipeg to redeem the articles. Unfortunately, she only redeemed my Gilda's overcoat and the one disc that was in the pocket. And an important music box with the second disc as I was missing. Because it had been already forfeited 2 days earlier. But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, if our investigation of stolen government secrets was processing, we picked up on the fact that McGilly was involved. Inspector, you recovered fast. My orders were to retrieve the stolen information as quickly as possible, so we started gathering this fella's possessions and examining whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going on with the yard, but we had to keep it as quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector came to take the disc from me in the pawnbroker that day, I had become nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc were still there in the shop somehow. But if I knew it was race against time, I had to find those articles before pulling the police did. Did that prompt you to break into that place that same night? With the help of your old friends, the Shokin brothers. What happened that night on the pawnbrokery? I can only describe it as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I located the music box I sold to McGilda on the shelves for forfeited articles. And the second disc was inside? Yes. It slipped my mind in the pocket a very deep sigh of relief. But then, something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing in my shop? Gunshot rang out of the shop and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun and the bullet pierced through your limb. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, I just got to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Before I knew what was happening, I fired back. The man already turned to flee. I had intent to fire that direction. Musklex killed him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled to the storage door for refuge.
A sorry tale.
It all took place in the blink of an eye. I don't imagine Agent Ringo even realized what had happened to me at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened in Winnipeg on that wretched night. Earlier, you called McGilden a monster. A man who uses wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime and murder. What tragic irony. For what you have done, it's exactly the same. You've become the very monster you saw and despised so deeply and McGilded. Yes, I think I have.
Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. However, it seems that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon?
He's been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted in the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Winnebeck and the stealing of government secrets.
Very good. And you, Inspector, regrettably, you will have to face charges yourself.
Yes, my lord, of course. It transpired they were complaining of helping the criminal Chief Justice. The fact remains whether or not you were doing the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and excusable.
Now for the defendant, Miss Lestrade.
Yeah?
It is time for your final adjustation. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
Yes, sir. Garbage squads are sitting by, sir. This is really it now. The last push, the last call. Finish your whistle. My man is ready to deliver verdicts.
Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now declare your final decisions of the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
That's a job, I'm off the hook. Finally, Ruda, you finally managed to do it. Finally is the word. I really wasn't sure if we would come out of the top of the wall there. Susie was right, you're the best lawyer in the world.
Miss Lestrade, I am not finished with you yet.
Eh? What are you looking at me for like that for?
Before you start gripping your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider.
Huh?
2 months ago, in my courtroom no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? In relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully enter Winnebago's property, you also attempted to extract Mr. McGill's property, it seems.
I never done nothing of the sort. Of course not. Only you were gleefully wearing McGilda's clothes at your cell yesterday or anything. No, I was trying to get excited. We're throwing a party for Jeannie this afternoon.
Turning our attention to the defense. Determining that, when played together, the music box disc contained a message in Morse code was almost certainly the most unexpected revelations, counsel.
Quite so, my lord. The prosecution only caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friend's courage here today. I propose a toast. To the men the government secrets be dismantulated before the entire courtroom. We're very sorry about that. It was the only way that could get Inspector Gregson to admit what he had done so. I remember something at one point. Isn't that? It's about the sound produced by the music box before. I do wonder if it was really Morse code at all. What? What are you saying, ma'am? Oh, well, it's just I'm really rather fanatical when it comes to Morse code, you see. So much of the whole world seems to be covered in dots and dashes for me, in fact. Goodness, ma'am. An unlawfully level accession one feels. I'm not sure that my opinion might sound for those two discs. Or nothing more than that. Meaningless series of two different tones. What? What? Can that really be? It wasn't Morse code at all? My lord, the fence would like to listen to the music box again. Are you asking not how many times I got to tell you? No, these is contain minimal secrets, okay? Court was on an appropriate form to discuss the nature of the government's communications. We don't make others co-inspiring national trade secrets or nemesis secrets acquired from Mr. Graydon. Now that a man is a minute late to his crimes, we had no choice but to pursue the matter further. Ugh, but it's going to really bother me.
Mrs. Straw,
Yeah, me lord? That which you have seen today here in this courtroom has been extremely disturbing. Falsified evidence, intimidation, perjury, aggressive dialogue, and deep rapidity.
repelling argument about how any child.
Come on, ain't nothing I don't see most days in my bash loans.
I beg your pardon.
If you're weird, you're gonna pay for it. That's how low life goes. Cena. But look, I reckon it works something out today. The world ain't fair. If you want to change, just start from home. You gotta change how you were yourself.
Well, that's a very laughable reason, I would say. I usually look forward to reporting at Mr. Straw never gracing my courtroom presence again. Now, with regard to the murder of Mr. Paul Winnebank, prospect of the pump broker business on Baker Street, I hereby declare the defendant, Miss Gia Lestrade,
Not guilty.
That is all. Court is adjourned.
On a personal note, I must say you surprised me, my Far Eastern friend. Oh! Despite being a Nipponese, you saw through the pretense of the malice that festered within that Englishman. And at the same time saw through the grims of the surprising heart of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering there are very different cultures. I don't think there's any curious about it. Whatever is the Empire of Great Britain or the Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. We're not so very different from the inside. You know, I took this case for one very simple reason. To lock swords with you once again here in this courtroom. You did? When I encountered you for the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me of toasting friendship and trust with another Nipponese, only to find my trust betrayed. So you, I hope to look at your eyes of a man you once knew and try to understand. You mentioned something similar earlier today about total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly? Well, you may ask. And one day when the time comes, you will learn the answer, whether you like it or not. Alright, then I'll wait for that day, I must. Coming to be known as the Reaper of the Bailey in my retirement from service 5 years ago, it gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. So, farewell, my learned Nipponese fellow, until we meet again. It's done. It's over at last. But where's Iris disappeared to? Ah, congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I know you were innocent.
Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naruto. Can't believe in me. Right up to the end. You're as hot as your name. What's hot about it? Told you I have faith in you, didn't I? No one ever has before, Shay. Kept a promise I made. Properly. That's awful. I figured something out today. All me life, growing up in the slums, I never trusted no one. That's just because I was scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it hurts when you let you down. Yes, I think I can understand that. After all, I had my taste of it as a child 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone and pay for it. That betrayal left a big scar. You know though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently too. Trusting in someone is really an exercise to learning to trust yourself. When the gut tells you it's worth you to do and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Oh, well, if you say so. It'll make a fat lot of sense to me, though. I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina. It's been a real pleasure. For crying out loud, pack it in. I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, alright.
Thanks. This is the way I see it, Ryanosuke. A defense lawyer is only as good as the faith of his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. After that experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean. Kazuma, am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believe I could be? Pardon the interruption. What the deuce does a man have to do to get unnoticed here, my dear fellow? That voice. It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruto. I've been sitting here patiently in the corner of my room for eternity. Yes, it was me all along. I would have sheriff finally noticed me. But you people with your innocent blabbering. Oh, Mr. Show. Yes, it was me all along, see? I assume you've been taken back to the hospital, I presume. Indeed it was, but I managed to escape again. Oh. I happen to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctor who was tending with me. I simply made my knowledge of the note to man who happily issued me with a leave of absence. How very above board. But not my adventures. That was a fine victim, Mr. Naruto. Your time was ever truly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat at you. Oh, thank you. I'm a great detective you are. Great at being caught as I've maybe. Have I hurt you in some way, Mr. Straw? While you were having a snooze of your nice shot band, some of us have been fighting for our lives. Ah, well, that bullet did cause me to lose my son's tentacle out of blood, it's true. But I haven't even feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps as cold as ice, but, well, have a feel. Could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Holmes? And, in some way, I suppose, congratulations are in order for you too, Mr. Straw. What's that supposed to mean? Why so half-hearted? Well, naturally, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but... An acquittal of the trial with the particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precarious. Well done, Mr. Sholmes, not alarming in the slightest. Oh, the Reaper, you mean? Because everyone's gonna find out guilty of the child who was working on my wing stuff anyway, is that it? The very point I was trying to make. As exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGilden, in fact. Oh, but of course, I pay no attention to irrational trivial myself. Yeah, well, it don't bother me. Really. Of course not. The way I see it, the Reaper's a bit like upstairs. You know upstairs? You mean like God? Yeah, I'm upstairs knowing what's what, right? He knows what people are like on the inside. He won't have him wrong. He won't have the wrong end of the stick. There's some codes that that box should have brought into the core. The other day, I'm upstairs making sure they got what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Divine justice is one thing, though. The Reaper taking matters in his own hand and claiming lies is another. Well, I ain't named McGillers in this world, so I ain't scared. I got principles, see. A treat of you wish to be admired, Mrs. Straught. Oh, wait, just give me a rest, alright? As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal was very welcoming news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. Well, there you are, Hurley. How long have you been there? Honestly, I was the main interest to meet you there. Ah, Iris, my dear. I do apologize. But wait till I tell you what happened. A pyramid uttered fools of itself. What happened? As you know, I have a pendant for disguise. I was hiding in this room just as a bailiff. These thoughts didn't notice my presence at all. I had no idea. Can you imagine Iris would you credit it? I'm not sure really. I beg your pardon? I'm sorry, Harley, but you just don't have the way the presence you seem to think you have. In fact, you really have to be careful with that. I'll let you in trouble one day. I'll be careful. Ouch. Anyway, it's such a shame. I was so hoping to throw a party for Jeannie tonight. But you won't be able to come, will you? Don't look like I'll be going in nowhere for a while. You heard the child's patter. I asked her to make amends for apparently on the offenses. What was it again? Breaking into it and taking backward stuff? What was in the law? Blah blah blah. Yes, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offense. Right? That ain't no offense. It's a job, ain't it? I don't think so. Still, that's me thinking all this. You should start looking for another line to work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, didn't you, Otto? Oh, no, I was never the pickpocket. Well, anyway, I reckon I can make a change. I'm gonna do something with them that like me from the slums. I'm gonna make a difference for them. It's an idea, Genie. I wonder you can do it. What is it? Nothing.
Steal the straw. The prison carriage is right, man. Come with me to the rear gate at once.
Right. Well, we'll click them off then. Yes. Goodbye, Gina. And good luck. Otto? Yes? What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so... Ah, indeed. Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hinder or so, missing from your vocabulary, Mr. Trott. On occasions such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you. Oh. Oh, yes. It's good advice, Genie. Right. I see. Well... Thanks. Nada. Hmm. Thank you for everything what you've done. For believing in me. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. Well, there she goes. I wonder if I'll ever see her again. Well. Find an invulnerable pick first. Oh, I nearly forgot. I brought a paper outside. Special edition is trounced all over the front page. Pickpockets innocent proven. Isn't it wonderful? You should have known. You should have shown it to Gina. I wish she would have been thrilled. Oh no, that's silly on me. But anyway, would you like to have the good news or the bad news? Ugh, not again. Well, what do you say, Runa? Really? As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely, no, I have intention to listen to anything but the good news. And there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it? Let's not go there. Alright then, let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. It has a record level of rainfall, apparently. Well, that is good news indeed. We can try to get back to the greater comfort. Right, then what's the bad news? The huge storm has left the seas very choppy. The channel in particular is off, so sailing out of Dover has been delayed for a day or more. Wait, Dover? That's right. If we head to the station immediately, we can still make it to try to say Wave Tuesday off. But there won't be a train, surely. We can't be that lucky. Who's this? Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruto? Mr. Shung? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier to make arrangements with the Special Express. If we hurry on, we should be there in time for dinner. And I know a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked soleil. But Createch does it again. Indeed it does. I happen to be aware of the number of very transparent directors' phobos. What? I nearly made my knowledge to them known to the man, and he happily laid in Mokonova Elementary. It's an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. What are you waiting for then? To London, Victoria. That took someone longer than I anticipated. Susie's mom must be about to leave now. Mr. Sato, where are you? Over there, look. It looks like she's reading something.
Hold it!
Mr. Sato, wait. What are you doing? Mr. Naruto? What are you doing here? We came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard the sailings has been delayed due to the bad weather, you see. Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Chia's trial go? It went well. She was acquitted. That's wonderful. Really wonderful news. The book you're about to throw into the sea, it was an encyclopedia of British law, wasn't it? Oh dear, I was hoping you hadn't seen that. I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now. So I was saying that my final goodbye. You were saying goodbye to law? You? Suzato-san? I'll be correct if assuming. It's because of the people, Mrs. Zato? I deliberately altered the scene of the crime, and then I try to hide the fact. What I did is truly unforgivable. That reminds me. How do you even come to have this, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Trump said he invited Gina to dinner, if you remember. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gives a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, then. Oh, so messed up. I stole Bruno's handbag. Yes, please don't do that again, Iris. That bag's very important to me. Well, it's so important you should pay more attention to it. You haven't noticed for ages. On the whim. I thought it would be fun that I could take the compliment, but I put it up my sleeve. Really? And I'd rather forget about it until I found myself in Mr. Winnebank's shop with it later that night. I see. And then... Mr. Schultz! Mr. Schultz! Leaping Mr. Naruto. Right. After I left the shop, I started to think. That door started to play on my mind. Doorroom door, you mean? Yes, if Gino was anywhere in the shop, I realized he could have been behind the door. At the moment, the little device I had on my sleeve sprang into mind. So bored by Gina, I simply had to know. So you try to compliment and make the people in the door? He catch it as a photograph print of the shop. One of Hurley's hand-handed recorders. Indeed, it was of first importance at that point. Precisely when the people was here, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruto's greatest weapon. Though naturally without proof, it was amount to nothing. But when I look into the peephole of the door, the sight I met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run into my mind. I remember the trial 2 months earlier. Trial of Madeleine McGilded. I thought about how he had manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British judicial system feel very dark and sinister to me. And a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because of the appearance of the crime scene, it looks exactly as though Gina was shot Mr. Middlebank. Even though I was sure she would never have done such a thing. You were worried about the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime. That's right, but then I realized it would be very difficult to anyone to give false testimony in this case. What do you mean? Well, the crime appeared to happen behind the door of the locked room. For someone to falsely attest as witness, there would been a way to see beyond the door. Ah. In which a peephole would have been very thing. Only the people asked me what exactly there until after the crime has been committed. Of course, the criminal would know that it wouldn't make any difference. But the possibility of rather genius trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it? Was that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned that you made a people or anyone, not even to the police. I know. And I know at the time I was doing what's wrong. Criminal offense, even. That's why I decided to comply with Mr. Sholmes. And Mr. Darville was completely back into the corner with no other possible means to escape. The truth about the people could save him. Nor the plan. She really did think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, I would have rendered you confident of the whole escapade. Ah. He could have been disbarred if he had seen no one temporarily with the crime scene. Mrs. Sutton decided to shoulder the burden with responsibility alone. For your sake and Mrs. Trott's. Mrs. Sutton. The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I lose a little of faith in the law. Oh. I was worried that the right person would commit the other crime. But the moment I allowed myself to think that is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant. What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied on the witness stand using that people in the way to manipulate Gina. Besides, the people could consistently had existed. I'm not at all sure what she would have been acquitted at the end. Mrs. Doctor, what you did saved Gina's life. With your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you saved me too from my regrets. Bill, we must all be thankful that Mrs. Trott's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. So some of the loose ends of the trial will continue to play in my mind, I'm sure. But the revelation that recent bosses contain secret messages in that Naruhodo. What a triumph to work that out. I'm full of ambition. Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was. Oh, it was. It was a communications officer among the jury's members of DC, a telegraph operator. He said the majority of the sounds of the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect, after all, we're not talking about secret government informations. No doubt they were written in cipher to avoid being readily understood what they would have been interpreted. In cipher? I see. So then I could never have hoped to understand the message anyways. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-pipe problem, I assure you. So, what? Well, that can't be a real word, can it? How funny. Wait, Irish, what did you just say? I just said asogi. Does that word didn't mean anything to you? Mean something. Asogi was my name with my best friend. What? But how? How do you know his name, Iris? I wrote it down during the trial before, but when the message was playing in the music box. Translated on the fly, she really is a genius. Well, the message was the one that went out and played Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. Whatever I try, the words just didn't make sense. That is, in English at least. Oh! And suddenly occurred to me, you see, more than one Morse code, just none of English parity. Various countries around the world have altered and added the Morse code to use their own languages. I don't believe it. Are you saying... That's right. Only naturally seem to try the Japanese Morse. Japanese Morse code once before. But I think it's based on the Iroha pentagram, isn't it? You mean to say the Japanese Morse code the message said Asogi? Yes, I think so. I'm just don't remember all the Japanese Morse code. Gosh, would you let me see that? Mr. Sato, do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code? Yes, it's best to study it. Because I'm quite sure Morse code will become ever so important in international communication. Now, my book, I'm already man. You focus on your effort on your English version. Yeah, wait, show me the message, please. Of course. But how can that possibly mean? Why is it that Hansing is supposedly meaningless dots and dashes? Make the color geniuses out of space. No doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code. So the British Empire has been using Japanese for secret communications?
I understand the reason why, but
The message appears to be listed 4 people's names. 4 names. The first is K. Asogi. Kazuma Asogi.
why? Why is his name in that disc?
The second is A. Shun. Shun? I don't recognize that name. The third is T. Gurason.
Grayson?
Oh, you will see that Tobias Gregson is the 3rd man on the list. And what's his name doing the secret government communication as well? And the last name. What's the matter, this Zato? It's just so strange. So unexpected. Oh, what is this? Don't keep us in suspense. The last name is J. Wilson. What? Wilson? John H. Wilson? You mean Daddy? It says only J. Wilson, and I really can't be sure. Then after the 4 names, it reads, if I translate for Japanese, that is all 4. And that's the end of the message, or rather the end of the way you know the Deadliners. I just can't believe it. Who would have thought that those discs contain Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of disturbingly familiar names. It would appear this particular message is a communication starting off between Great Britain and Empire Japan. So Daddy could be in Japan then, where Susie and Bruno came from. Oh well. No, that's not very likely, really, is it? Man, there are thousands of people with this surname Wilson, but there must be a lot of J's among them. Professor John H. Wilson. Visiting professor of science at Imperial Yume University. We can't tell others about that now. We just can't. This is so strange. Somehow I'm solving the case of Mr. Winnimack's murder today. I feel like I rolled back a boulder in the mouth of a very dark cave. I do wonder if perhaps a dark cave shouldn't go wandering inside. Oh dear, the ship is going to set sail soon. Yes, it seems so. I was on a steamship first at the port of Dunkirk in France. Then I'll change to a large passenger vessel bound in Japan. You're really going then, Susie? We wish you a safe passage, Mrs. Utter. Thank you so much. I wish all of you the very best. Mrs. Utter, I hope to have you always on my side to guide me and support me. Mr. Nadaherdo, please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, You really are. The very best judicial assistant in the world. I'm quite sure. I'll be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh, don't you forget, Iris. I made you a promise that you have to fulfill. A promise? Oh, your manuscript. Ah. Oh yes, the Hounds of the Baskervilles. Well, I'll be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise. Definitely, Iris. Mr. Nerdahurda. Yes? You remember the first time we met? Yes, of course. On the SS Bruya when I was dragged out of that wardrobe still half asleep. If I remember correctly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with the Suzaku takedown. You know very well I'm talking about after that. Strange, but being thrown together as we were in this case, I somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Kasuma's great legacy. Mrs. Sato. And my instincts was right. I really want to believe. No, I'm sure that... I'll be back soon. Farewell till then.
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least. Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey. Fate led me to becoming a lawyer, to traveling halfway around the world, to meeting the great detective. I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations ahead. Of course there will. But whatever happens, I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around. After all, I have the greatest friends in the world on my side.
Ah, yes, Mr. Nerdhurter. Yes, Mr. Sholmes? I have some rather awkward news. The railway company has decided to sue over the special express train, apparently. Huh? Caused such a commotion in the line, all the other trains have to wait in stations. But really, we should never have made it in Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything, and how it was all your fault. Huh? Huh? I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. But not to worry, my dear fellow. According to Mrs. Zato, you love defending yourself in court. Huh? 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 It's alright, I'm perfectly happy to testify. You really didn't look the sort of man who do something so outrageous. See? Mr. Sholmes? Yes? A word, if you don't mind. Why, certainly. Any word if you like. Bellow it up, my dear fellow. Oh yes, I love Bruno's words. And I know just the ones he'll use here. Then, I really must say.
Objection!
Alright, and we have completed the Great Ace Attorney. And now, after this, we will be begin the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. And that's going to be the very last Ace Attorney game that I'll be streaming until we get a new one. And the announcement is, I do have one announcement, is that I will be using a mic for my other streams besides Ace Attorney. So stick around to that. But I'm very happy I'm almost done, because we're just down to Great Ace Attorney 2, and then we are officially done with Ace Attorney for now. I'm hoping that I'll get this done either by August or September. Depends. But yeah, I will let you guys enjoy the credits, because after the credits are done, the stream will end. So until then, That is such lovely art. Alright. Now, after the credits are done, that's gonna be it for the stream. I want to thank you guys for watching, for enjoying this series. And we'll see you next time when we start the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. This is Robin Phoenix signing off. Peace.